Hello and welcome back to my channel, Thrifty Day. My name is Leah and I'm the creator behind Thrifty Day. Today's episode is going to be a look into my personal journals and into my process and how my process varies from daily journaling to my creative memory keeping style of journaling. So this is my most recent complete daily journal. This is my new daily journal. And I know it's hard to believe, but these are actually the exact same journal. I purchased them at Barnes & Noble. I believe the name is Lectern 1917. Of course, I decorated them, but I do journal in these every day. I have daily journal prompts over on Patreon. This was my February daily prompt journal, and the orange one or the peachy tone one is my March daily journal. We don't always have daily journal prompts, but we did for the month of February over on Patreon, and then it carried over into March. I'm showing you a look into my daily journals. They are mostly happy mail or items I already have in my stash. I very rarely will purchase anything to create these layouts. So in this video, I'm actually going to show you how I create a layout in my daily journal versus how I create a layout in my creative style memory keeping journal. Because while they are both sort of junk journal in nature, my process is different. One is much more intentional, while one is just a sort of use your stash situation. And that truly is the beauty of creative junk journaling. You can find a style that works best for you. And what works best for you may not be what works best for me. And it may not even be what works best in your life right now. Maybe your style will evolve. Maybe you'll see something today and think, that's not really what I want to do. But in a few months or even next year, you'll think, oh my gosh, I think that's something I want to try now. I want to challenge myself creatively. So now we are looking into my creative memory keeping journal. The layouts in this journal are much more intentional. There are specific days, there are specific reasons usually. More often than not, there's a lot more photos, more annotating, and less writing. Although, because my journaling tends to be fluid, some days there's a lot more writing than usual. I don't know that there's writing at all on one of these layouts. But the biggest difference is how intentional I am, because I am trying to capture that memory. Like this was my birthday layout. So that's the biggest difference. So I'm excited that I'm going to get a little help creating these layouts from this Grabie subscription box. Thank you so much, Grabie, for sending this to me. I am super excited because I love getting new journal supplies. So I just want to show you a peek. It even came with this little pin. How cute. If you know me, you know in my studio, I have pin boards because, you know, I hoard everything. It came with this whole wax kit. Like, wow, that was very generous. Lots of paper products, lots of journal products, and I am not going to lie, the envelopes to me are the biggest win in this box. They are so beautiful, and spoiler alert, I end up using one in my layout. But these labels are beautiful, the products are beautiful, they're high quality, it's a small business, and you know I love to support a small business. So if you were interested in learning more about Grabie, or if you wanted to pick up this box or other boxes, be sure to check out the description box. I have all of the information there. I also have a discount code that you can use down below. Look at how pretty these are. I'm going to use a lot of these. These are full, look like wrapping paper sheets. They're very beautiful. And I'm very excited to use a lot of it in my process. So let's do this. So I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but we are going to be doing two different layouts today because I want to show you how my process varies. And so since we are going to be working in my creative memory keeping journal first, I'm going to show you what ephemera I plan on using and what I'm going to be journaling about. I'm going to save that bag because of course I'm going to use it. I'm going to be journaling about the mother-daughter Valentine's tea that my daughter Abby's sorority threw. It was in Malibu. It was beautiful. So I printed out some photos from the day. I mean, Southern California, does it get any more beautiful than that? That is in February. It was a beautiful day. They gave these cute M&Ms. I'm going to have to empty this, give the M&Ms to Hannah. She'll be so happy. These are some of the teas that we drank. They had little tiny teacups, so we got to drink a lot of tea, which made me happy because, you know, now I have ephemera. I'm, of course, going to use some of those Grabie products. The envelopes are just speaking to me. But I'm excited because I feel like I have a lot to work with. Obviously, pinks and reds are the way I want to go since this was a mother-daughter Valentine's tea. So I'm going to start there. I have a very thin piece of like vintage vellum. Well, that's not going to do. I need a much more sturdy base. So I'm going to use these Grabie. I actually think they were meant to be cards. Not meant to be. They are. They're cards. And I'm just going to use my tape runner to glue them onto that vellum. And I was going to trim it all, but then I thought, well, that's silly. Let's just fold them over and make that page nice and sturdy. I have to say this worked beautifully. Tip number 1, if you have cards, glue them on a very thin page and fold them over for a nice thick page. I loved it. And it was a little bit taller on the top. So you're going to see, I was going to trim it, but I actually end up keeping it because then it makes my tea bags kind of stick up nicely in the end. You'll see. You'll see. And then I wanted to add some washi tape. And while I love this little pink gingham washi tape, it does not stick well. And I actually recently saw this comment here on YouTube. What do you do when the washi tape doesn't stick because it doesn't hold? I add glue. So you're going to watch me sort of add glue as I go. And that way that washi tape, do you see, I just put a little bit, I just sort of dab it on as I roll it out. That way I know that that tape is going to stay nice and sticky. And I don't always have to do this. Sometimes some washi tape is better than others, but this one definitely is not very sticky. And the whole point is I want it to kind of cover the seam in the middle of my layout. So I just add a little bit of glue. I'm going to add a little more washi tape to cover that other seam. And I'm just going to add some Tombow right down the side. So look at that, 2 very simple junk journal tips back to back. Use cards as a base and add some glue stick to your washi tape. Easy peasy. So now that I have a nice strong base for my layout, I'm going to start cutting up my ephemera. I'm going to start with the largest ephemera first. This bag is from one of our favorite stores. This is where we buy all of our jelly cats in Malibu. And I love their logo. So I cut that out and then I'm going to start trimming the ends off of my pictures. I print my photos on my Canon Selfie, if you were wondering, and that's why it has those little perforated edges. And I really do love the Canon Selfie. The pictures print very beautiful. As you can see, the quality is very nice as well. So I have this card. Abby gave this to me. She got it when she was out shopping. And so she said, Mom, I just thought about you. So I wanted you to have this. So I'm just going to tape it right down onto the page since it's a larger bit of ephemera. And she gave it to me on the day of the tea. So I thought it was appropriate and it's kind of beachy. We were in Malibu. So like I said, when I try to be very intentional with the ephemera I use, I like it to either complement what I'm journaling about or be like personal ephemera from the day. So I want to add these roses too. I don't know. Roses kind of say tea to me. I don't know. And these are so beautiful. The color's kind of pinky. It's perfect. Roses also say Valentine's Day. It's all a vibe. It's all a vibe. The other thing I do is I pull out a couple of my favorite pictures that I want to make sure are a focal point on my memory keeping layouts because photos are really important for me to tell my story. So I picked my favorite photo of Abby and on the cliffs of Malibu. And then I also made sure to pick another photo that's of her and I. Because now right away, when I open this layout, even if I don't immediately read perhaps what I wrote, I can see that picture of Abby and that picture of me and Abby and go, oh, this layout was for the mother-daughter sorority tea, the Tri-Delta tea. So right away, I know what this layout is. So I'm sticking those bigger pieces down and I'm loving the way it looks. I love this rose from the Grabie box. It is so beautiful. And I'm wondering if you could even purchase these like individually, like just the little pack of them, because I love them. Imagine if they had yellow ones. Grabie, if you are watching, make these in yellow. They're so pretty. I love the die cut roses. The roses are actually a nice paperweight. They're kind of like a cardstock. So I'm just going to use my tape runner and just sort of willy-nilly throw some tape runner on the back. And they stuck down perfectly. I love, love, love the way it looks. Such a nice sort of addition to this Valentine's-y mother-daughter tea moment that we're having here. All right, so this is what we have so far. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to give it a like. I would appreciate that so much. If you're new, be sure to say hi. And if you are returning, thanks so much. So I told y'all I had to use that envelope because look, there's a little Cupid on it. Isn't that cute? I also love that it's vellum and see-through. It's going to be a nice way to add some more photos, but not make the layout look too photo heavy or too scrapbooky. So again, since it's vellum, I'm going to use my tape runner, and I'm going to use a lot of tape runner. I'm an over gluer, I'm an over taper, I am unapologetic. But you know what? Nothing comes up off of my layouts. So I'm throwing that Cupid envelope right down onto the page, and I love it. How easy is this? That was from our dinner. Oh my God, we went to the best restaurant. I can't even remember the name, but it was amazing. We were right by the fireplace, right in Malibu. Oh, it was a dream. And that other picture of Abby, and then our receipt from our restaurant. I'm just going to tuck it all into the envelope. Like, this is so easy. This layout came together so well. It makes me so happy. What a wonderful day. So now I have this photo of myself and Abby, and I realize here, oh, I'm running out of space, and I still have to add all these tea bags. So I pick a few of my favorite, and you know what's coming out, you guys. The stapler. Yes, I am going to willy-nilly staple these tea bags right to the top. I'm not even sorry. I love it. If you're a stapler, raise your hand in the comments. Throw me a little asterisk, raise his hand, or a little emoji. I love staples. I love the way they look. It's super simple. I even have little gold staples. Look at how they stick out the top. It was like a win, 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 win. I was so excited. I love when that happens. I love when something just works. So now I want to get that photo onto the layout. I do trim it a little bit. That's another nice little hack to keep in mind if you are trying to kind of fit a lot of things on a layout. Be sure you're really trimming your photos down. Just because a photo prints with a lot of background, trim it all up. Just keep what's focal in your photos. That way you have less like photo paper all around your layout and more sort of junk. If you want it to look more like a junky or a creative sort of layout, that's a good little hack. Make sure you're trimming down your photos. Now I really wanted to add those that little M&M package, and yes, Hannah did eat all of those M&Ms. She was very excited. But it didn't really work next to the photo. So what I end up doing is adding that full photo of me and Abby. I don't bother trimming this photo though, because it's just going on the inside of the card. And then I add the candy wrapper right on the top. It was hard to get that adhesive on there, but you know what? I made it work. I made it work. It's all good. I do end up trimming it down a little bit more though, because I didn't really want it sticking out of the card. I just sort of wanted it to be in there as a memory. And again, you'd have to open the card even to see it. So it's not anything that's that big of a deal. This layout came together so quickly. I think now all I'm going to do is add a little rose in the pocket. So I put some adhesive on the back of my photo. I stick it down. I kind of make sure it's layered. And that's it. This is what we have, and I am super happy about it. I do end up adding a few little word stickers around the layout. They're from like the little Tim Holtz sort of tiny word spiral pack. I don't actually know what they're called, but I sort of love doing that. It's just sort of a fun way to add a little extra sort of punch to your layout. But this is what we have, and I'm super excited. Let me know what you think. I'm going to do my journaling off camera, but I'll be sure to give you a look at what that all looks like at the end. So that was our creative memory keeping style junk journal. Now let me show you my process for my daily junk journal. So the other thing I should have mentioned is that in my creative memory keeping style journal, I do not journal chronologically. I just pick a page that works. Whereas in my daily journal, I absolutely do journal in chronological order. So as you see, I just opened up to the next blank page and I cut up this bit of paper that I'm going to use as a base. My journal prompt for this day was blank inspires me to be the best version of myself because blank. So I will write in response to that journal prompt, but what I am actually putting on the pages doesn't necessarily reflect or have anything to do with that journal prompt. I hope that makes sense. So really all I'm doing is being creative with items I have in my stash. I had received this paper bag in some Happy Mail and I immediately loved it. And so I'm going to use it as a base. Isn't it beautiful? I don't think it's vintage, but it looks vintage. It's just really pretty. So if you don't know or if you haven't seen before, I have a clear acrylic box that sits in a cube right next to my desk. And that is where I put all of my personal ephemera, special things I receive in mail, stickers, just things I want to use in my journals, whether they're my daily journal, my creative journal, anything like that. So on a day-to-day basis, really what I do is just pull from that box. It doesn't always match. Today I had some of those Grabie items, so I contemplated using those. I didn't even see these bows. Look at these little die-cut bows. How cute. I do end up using those. Spoiler alert, they're so cute. I tried using the envelope again. I actually don't end up using it. And here is where you're going to watch me start to overthink. And usually for these daily layouts, that doesn't happen. I just sort of slap things down on the page. But I think it was the pressure of having the camera on. I started overthinking, and maybe I should put this here, and maybe I should put this there, and I want to make sure I use this. I want to make sure I use that. And that is what you are watching here. You are watching me overthink. I pulled out some of this adorable mail that I received from Shara and some printables that I had stuck in my box. And I think, oh, maybe I'll add this to the page. Maybe I could be creative and collage here and collage there. And as I am moving all these pieces around, I finally told myself, stop it. You are not being authentic here. Just start cutting things up and gluing things down onto the page. Do not overthink. This is just your daily personal journal, so treat it that way. Just be creative. Just have fun. And so I slowly started to shift my mindset here with this layout. Instead of trying to force myself to make sure items got onto the page, I just pick up my glue stick and I start gluing things down, because that way I can't turn back. And it's okay. It's just a daily personal layout. It isn't anything groundbreaking here. I can just enjoy myself and glue pretty papers down onto the page. So if you are an overthinker, this is your sign to just allow yourself to have fun. Not every layout is going to be the perfect cohesive layout that you might see on YouTube or TikTok. Sometimes they're going to look a little wonky or a little bit like a child made them. That's a little bit how I feel about this layout, but that's okay. I'm having fun and I'm using pieces that I've wanted to use for a long time, because ephemera is great, but it's not serving any sort of purpose if it's just sitting in an envelope or sitting in a box for months and months and months. Take out all those cute and pretty pieces and just glue them onto a page. Use them. It doesn't have to necessarily make sense, because it's your journal. They're your item. So when you open it, you'll know what it means. You'll know what they are. And sometimes it's just fun to cut and paste. So once I just started having fun with it, the layout started moving a lot faster, and it felt much more authentic to how I use my daily journal, which made me happy. I did have that tea bag left over, so that was fun to add onto this page. I don't usually do double layouts back to back like this, so that might have been another reason I sort of felt like, oh gosh, I'm just creating and creating and creating. But ultimately, it was really fun. I also added the Grabie sticker that I ripped off of the tissue paper when I opened the package, and I'm loving it. Does any of this match? No, not really, but I'm okay with that. And those pieces I'd cut out, so I just wanted to make sure they made it on the page, because, you know, I figured if I would have stuck those back into my box of ephemera, they probably would have ended up sitting there for months. And I thought, rather than letting that happen, we're just going to just stick them onto the page. Just throw it on. It's fine. It's all fine. And I told y'all, I was obsessed with those roses. They're so pretty. I was hell-bent on getting these roses onto this layout. And I did. I ended up getting them on there. I was super excited because they're so pretty. So now you just see me trying to figure out, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to make this work? Well, I just ended up trimming them down, and I sort of layer them on top of each other onto this little printable. By the way, that printable is part of Johanna Klau's most recent digital collection. I purchased them in her Etsy shop. They have little teddy bears. I loved it. I loved the teddy bears. Super cute. I'll be sure to link them in the description box if you wanted to go purchase them as well. So for my daily journal, like I said, the name of the game is just fun. I'm not looking to be very intentional with anything. My only intent is to use what I have, and then to have space to actually write in response to the journal prompt. And so that's exactly what you see me doing here. And I am having a great time. So while you watch me stick these roses down, I'll be sure to let you know that if you are looking to chit chat with me and lots of other junk journalers, you can tune in every Tuesday to Journal Talk Tuesday. It's at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on YouTube. I do a live. We talk about all things junk journal and that are happening in our junk journal world. I answer your questions. We do live journaling. Sometimes there's tutorials. It's a really great time. So be sure to tune in this Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for Journal Talk Tuesday. Also, if you can't be there live, no worries. All of the replays are available, and I will be sure to link the playlist down below if you wanted to see previous episodes, and so you can always catch it on a playback too. And I was so excited to add these little bows. These were from the Grabie box. How cute are they? I was so excited. I think they're precious. So I just used my Tombow mono glue stick to add all of these little die cut bows. And again, they're like a heavy cardstock. So they're very easy to glue down onto the page. And I think they added just a sweet little touch. They're very like muted colors, like beiges and pinks. And I didn't even know they were in the Grabie box. I didn't see them in that little envelope. So it was such a pleasant little surprise to find them here to be able to add right at the end. And I do think it added a really sweet little touch. So I am actually going to do my journaling off camera. Oh, and I always add the date. So this was for March 7th. So I'm adding that little 7 right to the top. And I'm going to do my journaling off camera, and let me show you what they both look like with their journaling on the page. It's always so interesting to me to see how much actual writing adds to a layout. It looks so much more complete. I mean, maybe that isn't interesting to somebody else, but it is to me. So that's my daily journal layout with the writing. And now this is my creative memory keeping style layout with the writing. And I'll open the envelope, not the envelope, the card, so you can see with the writing on the inside. I just chit chat about our day and how special it was. And yeah, that's it. So this is my process for 2 very different styles of journal. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you made it to the end of this long and chatty video, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hit the like button on your way out. That would also mean a lot to me. And I will see some of you on Journal Talk Tuesday. And I just want to thank you so much for watching my videos. I hope you know that it means so much to me. I love creating them. I love this little space here in YouTube. And I'll chat with you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.